Hi, I'm Jordan from Kettner Creative. In this video, I want to show you the similarities and the differences between the Yamaha MG10XU audio console and the Mackie ProFX10v3. Both of these consoles have effects, USB outputs, 10 channels, they're analog consoles. I think they're both great high-value audio consoles. They're both built for small live events, video streaming, home recording, or hybrid events where you can do a live event and a USB stream out the back at the same time. They're both super nice consoles, but they do have very distinct differences, and we're going to go through those now. Now, on both audio consoles, let's just talk about price really quickly. The current pricing for both of these is linked in the description below. I don't want to say what the current pricing is because they change all the time, so do check out those links because that does provide a little bit of context for why one console has a lot better features than the other one, I think. So they both have XLR outputs here. They both have balanced 1/4 inch outputs. Both consoles, you can use all 4 outputs at the same time. Those outputs there are controlled by the master volume knob on both consoles, but the reason that I bring this up is because, again, on both audio consoles, a common complaint to both of them is that the USB output operates independently of this volume knob. Now on the Yamaha, this means that you have to turn all the channels down when you're done with them if you want to kill your online feed. And the big win here for the Mackie is that you can just press the mute buttons on anything that you want to kill. There is a main mute button on the Mackie, again, that the Yamaha does not have, but this just kills the stereo output that goes to your speakers or your monitors or whatever you're using out of these main stereo outputs. A really big difference here between the two consoles is for this price point that Mackie put the mute buttons on each channel. As we're still talking about the stereo outputs here, I do want to talk about USB a little bit more. On both of them, you can bring a copy of the stereo mix out of the console using a USB output. Now this means that if you want to do multi-track recording, you have to pan each channel left and right, and that will separate the channels in your audio software to the 2 channels that this console is sending, and then you can do multi-track recording. That's the same on both of them. Now on the Yamaha, there's also 2 channels that come into the board. So how they deal with that is you can choose to switch away from their line inputs by toggling this button and bring that USB input into the board. Now, if you're doing this at a live event, you can choose here down at the bottom to select that you want that input to come out through the stereo output, through the main speakers at your event, or if you're doing a live stream and you don't want to create that feedback loop by sending and receiving the same signal to the computer, you can break the signal here and just take that output from the computer into the board, and then it just plays it out of your local studio monitors. So this would be helpful if you're doing things like recording and you just want to monitor something from the computer. You can use headphones by using this toggle here, or you can have it coming out of your studio monitors if you're playing guitar or something like that, and you want to monitor it while laying down new tracks. On the Mackie, it works a little bit different. There's 4 USB inputs that come into the board from your computer. Now the first pair comes into this monitoring blend knob. With this monitoring blend knob, it's a 0 latency blend between the inputs on your mixer and the monitoring from your computer. So if you're laying down a new guitar track, for example, you can listen to just the input coming from the computer and play your guitar because you can hear it off the amp already that's mic'd and coming into the board. Or if you're doing vocals and you want to hear a mix between what you're recording through your inputs on the board and what's coming from the computer, you can influence that mix here by changing the blend. So whatever your preference is, you can dial that in, and then you can choose to send this to your headphones or control room by pressing this button. Now, while we're talking about headphones and control room again, the Mackie does have separate volume control for both. So that's a nice feature there. On the Yamaha, both of them are married, as if they want you to choose whether you're using local monitors or headphones. There are some situations, whether you're live streaming or recording, where it is nice to have a blend of headphones and monitoring. So the Mackie gives you that option. It's just an extra volume knob. It didn't take up much space, and they threw that in there for you. Now let's talk about the inputs and the channel strips of each mixer. So on the inputs of both, we have 4 XLR inputs. The first 2 combi jacks on the Mackie, and the Yamaha one is all combi jacks. So on the Yamaha one, you can put a pad on it, which is a 26 decibel pad. On the first 2 channels of the Mackie, you have this high Z button, which is essentially a 20 decibel pad. It reduces the gain from 0 to -20 as a starting point on there. So it is basically a 20 decibel pad. Now what's distinct on the Mackie is that there's insert. What an insert does is it allows you to run a cable. You need a special insert cable there, plugs into there, but it allows you to loop it through something like a compressor, which is what's really missing on the Yamaha, is the ability for outboard effects. It is a little old school. It's not super common anymore, but it is nice that the Mackie threw that in there. Especially there's a lot of live streamers that love this format of console. They just want their own compressor, and this is a great way to do it. So super stoked that Mackie threw that in there. Now on both of them, there is some type of high pass filter. The Yamaha calls it a 80 Hertz high pass filter, and the Mackie calls it a 100 Hertz low cut. So they are a little bit different frequency range there. The Mackie is just a little bit higher. To compensate for the differences between the 80 Hertz here and the 100 Hertz here, both of them have inverted that on the low cut of the EQ. So on the Mackie, we have an 80 Hertz low cut there, and on the Yamaha, we have a 100 Hertz low cut there. While we're talking about EQ here, the Mackie has the same 3-band EQ the whole way across, and the Yamaha does not. It just has it on the XLR inputs. For its stereo pairs here, it has the missing knob is missing. So keep that in mind if tweaking your mids is really important. I'll be honest, there have been many times with the Yamaha console, if I'm at a wedding or something and there's a really poorly produced video and I want to do a low cut or a mid cut or a mid boost just to help whatever is happening in the video, and that option is just not here on this console. So that is a nice feature on the Mackie as well. Now, before we go any further, I do want to skip back up to the built-in one-knob compressors on both. A common complaint with the Yamaha mixer is that it does operate more like a traditional compressor. And it's funny to say that it's a complaint that it operates more like a traditional compressor, but it is a complaint because it operates like a traditional compressor without giving you any options to tweak it. And what I mean by that is this one-knob compressor, not only does it reduce the threshold and the compression ratio, so it does reduce the volume of things, but it adds gain as well, but you don't have a lot of control over that. So one complaint with this is if you're at an event or if you're mixing your live stream with this one-knob compression, chances are pretty good that your gain's already set up and your event's underway, and then you want to add the compression. So it's surprising sometimes that it adds gain. The Mackie mixer just has a 6:1, a fixed compression ratio, and when you increase that, it's just reducing the threshold. So it just brings down the highs, which is a lot more predictable. It's not adding gain to supplement or anything like that. You can always add the gain yourself. So the Mackie mixer for a one-knob compressor is a lot more predictable. A lot of users complain about the Yamaha when they first use it because it's surprising, and you can actually create feedback and monitors if your auxes are already set up by adding more gain like that. So the Mackie is more predictable and wins a couple points from me there. Next, for both consoles, the effects send works the same way. It comes all the way down, and you can use it as an aux by using a cable from either effects send on either mixer, or you can run it through. Both of them have a 24-channel effects engine. On the Yamaha, it is a bit better because not only do you get your 24 effects, but you do get a parameter here so you can adjust and tweak some of the effects that are built into it. And on the Mackie, you just select your effects and that's it. You adjust how much of the effect you're getting by using the effects send here. Now, another classic difference between Yamaha and Mackie, on the Yamaha, you turn effects on, but on the Mackie, you would choose to mute it if you don't want it on. That is common in their bigger consoles as well. On their bigger consoles, if a Yamaha does have a mute button, it's actually an on button where Mackie will choose to mute it. So it's just two different ways of thinking about it. But both these effects engines work the same way, where you can increase, Yamaha calls it the return, and Mackie calls it the effects level, but it operates exactly the same way. In terms of a couple more differences on the input side, the Yamaha does have 2 stereo pairs worth of RCA inputs, and the Mackie has 1 headphone jack input as well. It's a little bit old school to have that. This 910 channel from the Mackie is really all about that USB input. Very rarely would you choose to use something like a 3.5mm or 1/8" jack instead of a nice 1/4" stereo pair. But Mackie did that for one of the channels, I guess just to change it up and give that flexibility if somebody has an aux cord from their or from their car or something like that. So there's the 2 consoles there. Again, the Mackie is a bit more expensive, but I think you can see why. My summary of this whole video would be the Mackie has 2 extra USB inputs. It deals with them better. It has a no latency blend knob, which is huge for a lot of people. It has mute buttons, and it has the ability to add an external compressor or something like that by using the insert. The Yamaha is a bit more straightforward. It does have the RCA inputs, which a lot of people, like DJs especially, like using RCA more than 1/4". And the Yamaha has a rock solid reputation as well. If you have any questions about either one of these consoles, please leave a comment in the comment section below. We do have in-depth videos where we walk through how to set up each of these consoles, so please check those out as well. If you do want to see more videos from us in the future, please like and subscribe. Again, if you want to see pricing for either of these, we do have that info in the description below. Thank you for watching.